Hello again. Hi, everybody. And hello again, John, Dad John, and thank you for joining us. Quick intro, super quick intro today because Dad's on the clock. He's got a patient, a client coming in. Today, guys, is all about osteoporosis and bone health. So welcome back, Melbourne's favorite naturopath, John. Thank you. And may I just jump straight in, please? Okay,
you're jumping in, or am I jumping in?
I'll jump in. With the first question. Okay, thanks, Dad. So, okay, osteoporosis and bone health. All right. Apparently, there's something like 3 million people in Australia with osteoporosis, and apparently primarily women. I've been told 10 times more women than men with osteoporosis, which is quite scary. My first question to you is, what do we do? How do we prevent and treat it?
That's a very, very good question because, again, as we were speaking yesterday about other things, osteoporosis is a preventable disease. And if we can figure out the 5 or 6 things that accelerate bone loss, then we can do a lot to stop osteoporosis. Unfortunately, the accepted medical treatment for osteoporosis is some preparations called biphosphonates. They used to be, imagine this, they used to be given once a day. Then they figured out that the side effects were too much to suffer, and so they made them once a week. And then they figured that that was too much, and then the tablets became once a month. And now they've got injections that they do every 6 months. So ideally, we have to prevent it, and there are several natural ways of helping osteoporosis. Weight-bearing exercise being one of the very, very important things. You get some weights, you do squats and sit-ups, and you build up your muscles. And by pressing the strain on your bones, you increase the strength of the bones. Yeah. But nevertheless, one of the things that we must not do when we have osteoporosis is rely solely on calcium. So many times I have patients here who've been told, you have osteoporosis, you've got to take calcium, and unfortunately, it's the worst kind of calcium. Some preparations out there in the market which are calcium carbonate, very, very difficult. And perhaps many of them are not told about some of the simple things that they can do. For example, when the body is acid, the body uses calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate from the bones to reduce the acidity. Well, you might well ask, how do we reduce acidity in the body? Well, it's funny we should say that because we covered it yesterday. Acidity, the main source of acidity in the body is the acid that comes out of the stomach. And then once it goes into the intestines, it has to be quickly neutralized. And the neutralization of the acid in the intestines happens by the lactic acid producing bacteria in the intestines. And so we have to have lots and lots and lots of good lactic acid producing bacteria, and these are the lactobacillus acidophilus and bifidobacteria. So that's how you reduce acidity. Of course, too much protein makes you acid. So that's where, we say that milk and meat is acid and vegetables are alkaline. This is where this comes from. But there are other things. And unfortunately, again, my God, this is twice in a row. People will switch off and never see me again. Alcohol is not very good for osteoporosis. Oh, dear. I'm so sorry, guys. I really am so sorry. But cheer up. Heineken has got a 0 alcohol beer, which is very acceptable. And of course, nowadays, you've got the low alcohol wines and low alcohol beers. But anyhow, so drinking more than occasional drink of alcohol increases bone loss. Yeah. Some medications increase bone loss. And strangely, these are the antacid medications. We talked about acidity in the body causing bone loss, and yet these proton pump inhibitors and other antacid preparations that we take for the stomach, like Losec and Zantac and Nexium and all of these things, because people usually are long-term, years upon years upon years upon years on these, and they cause bone loss. Another interesting cause of bone loss is stress. And so it's kind of a perfect storm when ladies go through the menopause. Their estrogen goes down because of the menopausal menopausal changes. Sometimes stress is part of the whole thing as they try to adjust to. So then they have both a low estrogen and high stress at the same time. Now, stress causes bone loss because of the production of cortisol in the body, and cortisol is a thing that causes bone loss. Well, how do you deal with stress? There are two ways of dealing with stress, as there often is. One is pharmaceutical or natural stress relief preparations. And the natural stress relief preparations are extremely effective. But again, we have the pharmaceutical ones, the old Valium and so on that reduce stress. Far more better it is to reduce stress by changing your point of view. Oh, this is my beautiful niece, Sophie. Sophie, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Sophie, say bye.
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 Thanks, very love.
Where were we? Yes.
Stress. How do we reduce stress?
Yes. So meditation, mindfulness, yoga, and as I said earlier, changing your point of view about the things that stress you. Sometimes simply by changing your point of view, the stress can disappear, even though the circumstances are still there. And it does sound very easy, doesn't it? When you say it, it sounds easy. It's extremely difficult, and I'm not ridiculing it and making it insignificant. It's a very serious thing. But nevertheless, cortisol produced because of stress will cause bone loss. Well, vitamin D, my goodness, I don't know what's happening with vitamin D in the world today, but we seem to be deficient with vitamin D. And Philip Day and many other natural holistic doctors know that you have to have a vitamin D just above 100 in your blood tests and so on. Yeah. So vitamin D is it's also very important for COVID, as is zinc and some other things to boost your immune system. Maybe we'll do an immune system session one day. But vitamin D is essential for the proper utilization of calcium and the proper strengthening of the bones. Vitamin K2, it's interesting that it's called K2 because there are two K2s. There's K2 that you get from the green leafy vegetables like spinach and so on. And there's also a K2 that you get from things called offal. Offal are liver and kidneys and heart and lung. And in some cultures, these become delicacies, but in some cultures, you kind of look at them and say, yuck, I'm not touching this stuff. Isn't there a tablet? Yes, there is. We can make vitamin D together with K2 in a capsule form, and we do a lot of it here. One of the most important parameters that increase bone loss is hormonal loss. As we age, as you know, as we age, we lose muscle, our testosterone goes down, our progesterone goes down, and our estrogen goes down. You would think that the primary pharmaceutical weapon against osteoporosis would be these natural things, natural testosterone, natural progesterone, and natural estrogen, which we do here at the compounding pharmacy every day. And most holistic doctors use this weapon to help reverse osteoporosis, and they reverse it quite capably. And finally, there is something else about bone that people don't think. You think bone, you think calcium, you think bone, you think calcium. Well, bone is 30% collagen. Where have we heard that before? Collagen. Collagen is what makes bone together with protein, and it forms again the structure, how shall I put it, like a net, if you like, and then calcium and strontium and God knows what else goes into that, and it makes the bone. But collagen is what makes the bone strong and elastic all at the same time. And the trouble with some of the pharmaceutical injections and tablets is your bones become harder, but at the same time they become more brittle. So instead of being soft and breaking, they become brittle and can break. Mind you, I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving you medical advice. Listen to what your doctor says, because doctors are God's gift to mankind, as we all know. So back to collagen for a moment. Did you know that collagen, stop laughing, you're going to make me laugh.
Sorry.
Look at this. Collagen peptides improve bone density. Let's have a look. This is from the National Institute of Health, the National Center for Biotechnology Information, PubMed. So this is not some charlatan saying that take collagen because I make money when you buy collagen. This is the National Institute of Health that says that collagen peptides improve bone mineral density in postmenopausal women. And it says, conclusions, these data demonstrate that the intake of collagen peptides increase BMD, that's bone mass density, in postmenopausal women. In addition, there was favorable shift in bone markers indicating increased bone formation and reduced bone degradation. They basically say the same thing 3 times in 3 different ways, but the basic thing of this whole thing is collagen reverses osteoporosis. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. How about that? How about that? I mean, collagen does so many things, so many things. So in a nutshell, we are looking at balancing our hormones, and we do provide hormonal tests that people can do, and we give a report, and they can take the report to their doctors and take it from there. You take collagen, you do weight-bearing exercises, you try to reduce your stress levels, you make sure that your vitamin D is up high, you make sure that you eat well, that you have a lot of raw vegetables, like we said yesterday, and not too much meat and bread, which are acidic forming. You make sure that you've got proper gut bugs in your intestines, so that the acid from the stomach will be neutralized. And in general, again, we can speak about this for hours and hours and hours, but in general, this is what we have, and we can offer solutions for each of these points that I have mentioned. Thank you for listening.
That's awesome. That was good. And Dad, you anticipated all of my questions as you were talking. Particularly, I wanted to ask you about that point that you made about acidity. When the body is acidic, it takes, as you said, it takes the nutrients, calcium phosphate, out of our bones. So that was really interesting, and I'm glad you elaborated on that. So I have no further questions. I know you have a client coming in. So I will just say thank you very much. That was a really nice, succinct session. And everyone, we will see John back again tomorrow. Let me check my schedule. This might be a good segue. Tomorrow, John's going to be talking to us about hormones and how we can balance hormones. So that's a good one for the ladies out there. So Dad, thank you again for your time. Have a lovely afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.